hear about that woman? She's a sun queen, baby. Check this one out.
Rock City Network's coming to you from High Times HQ, and we have a very special interview for you today, viewers of the internet and everywhere else. Matt Sonic joining me from Matt Sonic in the High Times. How are you, my friend?
Very good, Benny. Though I must say I've got some really bad boot envy right now.
What, these ones?
Mm-hmm.
Look, they're all right.
Killing me, man.
Well, I like those boots as well. They're lovely.
Yeah, but
They look very... Where'd you get those from?
little store over in South Yarra, actually.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you like that side of town, don't you?
I love it.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. Well,
I'll get over it.
We're on the other side of town right now, and I won't disclose the location because we don't want groupies banging on your door.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here to have a bit of a chat about what's coming up. You've got the This Love Electric,
Mm-hmm.
The LP,
Yep.
being released.
Mm-hmm.
Now is it September 3?
It is September 3 online, so it's getting released, God forbid, on iTunes. And I've never been through this whole process before, so released on iTunes September 3, and we're actually releasing it a week after on CD on the Monster Magnet tour.
Yeah.
And then we've got a November release on vinyl in a Cherry Bar in the city.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's digress a little bit, and let's have a bit of a chat about Matt Sonic and where you've come from.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a couple of releases out. Can you take me through the process of your releases leading up to forming Matt Sonic in the High Times?
Mm-hmm. When I was, I'm from Queensland, and
sorry about that.
No.
No, so am I. That's fine.
The empathy's coming from a good spot.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
I played in a space rock band up there called System 13 when I was a young man, and we had a release. It was amazing. We had a great band. It fell apart very quickly though, and I actually moved down to Victoria to play music about 7 years ago, and played in a two-piece called Sons of the Sun. We were both fanatical surfers from Bells Beach, and started this band. We toured really heavily for about a year and a half, and that's actually how I fell into the Melbourne music scene. I ended up meeting Magic Dirt on a tour. We were supporting them around regional Queens, Victoria, and and I met Dean and Adelita and Raoul from Magic Dirt, and kind of fell into making music in Melbourne.
Now you've got a couple of releases before this LP that's coming out. And just briefly, for the audience out there to know a bit of history about you, take us through those two releases.
The main one, I guess, is a solo album that I decided to record about 3 years ago now, while I was touring as fill-in bass player for Magic Dirt. And it was called Revelator. I don't know, Ben, it was basically I wanted to live up to my contemporaries a little with an artistic pursuit, which was recording an album all to myself and working off yourself and kind of creating a ball of sound that is kind of naturally your own and everything. And I guess I'd listened to a lot of this in people like Lenny Kravitz and JJ Cale and Tom Petty. They've all released albums in this ilk before, and so I recorded this record with no real aspirations at all, except a real personal endeavour to make a wall of sound that was my own. And fortunately, it kind of garnered a lot of interest with musicians, which were some very good friends of mine that still play with me today, who formed the High Times. And that was Mikey Hughes, who's just an incredible psychedelic and rhythm guitarist, and Megan Shee, who plays bass for the High Times now.
Now, with the LP that's being about to be released, This Love Is Electric, you had a second release after what we've just spoken about, but that ties in somewhat to what you're releasing very soon. When we were having a conversation the other day, you were talking about you're making I think you linked it through a part two. You've got a track on the album that's a link from your past material.
Yeah.
Now, how did that tie in from that second release? Because it was a second release, correct? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And the part 2 is actually, it's this kind of ongoing thread that is happening through my releases, which is just telling stories of how music has started out, but also kind of continued to become the entire kind of heartbeat of my existence, you know. And those are stories. So it started in Revelator with a song called I've Arrived Like a Hurricane.
Yeah.
And it's continued on the new album with a song called Beast Revelator, which is which is more stories kind of from that same vein.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now let's get into what we're here about. Let's get into the LP that's about to be released. Take us through the formation of Matt Sonic and the High Times, and how you collected these Vodickas, if you will, to play in your band, because it's quite an interesting story, because you're a very clean guitar player, and you brought in someone that's quite opposite to you with the other guitar.
Yep.
How does that all come to fruition?
Yeah, well, that was actually the purpose behind it all. Was, you know, too many chefs in the kitchen or whatever. I wanted to bring in somebody that was a complete kind of, you know, where we're working off each other rather than, you know, creating the same kind of sound. And that's why I chose Mikey Hugh, or asked Mikey Hugh to play initially, because his sound was so different, but I thought it was almost like a handshake to my sound, you know. They were completely complementary. I think their interest in joining and playing the record that I recorded was just as instrumental in as in me asking them. Like, it was this really mutual decision we all had to want to play this album, and we only ever really envisaged that we'd play a handful of shows, and we booked about 4 or 6 shows at the start, and didn't ever have that pressure that kind of comes with creating a project and, you know, we've got to do this and we're going to be a certain thing. It was just all about friends wanting to make music together. And it was only about 12 months ago, I think, when we'd lost a drummer, that we all sat down at a dinner table one night, myself, Meg and Mikey, and decided to become a band, you know. It was like, we're going to do this, and we miss each other when we're apart far too much not to do it. So,
and that's an interesting thing too, because it seems like it's been quite an organic process with the formation of the band. And as you were saying the other day, you call each other on the phone and go, you know, if there's no rehearsal, you're kind of like, hey, what's going on? And it's strange in a good way, but it's very interesting. And I mean, it must be a very good base to lay your new record on, you know.
Yeah.
To be able to have that and be very open, and to be able to you know, express your creativity amongst everyone without any sort of kickback.
It is amazing
from doing what you're doing.
And I've always thought that one of the most endearing qualities about being in a band is that you're almost like a gang.
Yeah.
You know, you're a tight family, and you're lucky if you get into that family, you know. And the High Times are certainly like that, you know. It's a really strong knit group of people, and we all care about each other enough that, you know, they're the people you want to be touring with. If shit goes down, you want to be with these people, and you want to be with these people when shit goes down on stage. And it's it is a really great bunch of people to be working with. It couldn't be better, you know.
Now take us through the process of creating this LP. You have 2 parts to the LP. As I understand, the last 4 songs are part B, and then you've got part A. Can you take us through part A and part B briefly?
It was a really hard record to make. Revelator was the album I wrote by myself. Was a breakup record, and very serious record with that. And after it, while the High Times were touring, you know, our first kind of 12 months of shows, it was a very, very difficult time for me, and I couldn't write. It was more just a kind of functionality of playing Revelator and being on the road. And I went through a lot of really intense emotions, really kind of strongly linked to heartache and a bad breakup and everything. And it was only in hindsight that I started, when you kind of start to feel better about everything, and with a bit of perspective you could write. And when I started writing this Love Electric, which is a celebration of all these amazing feelings that you can feel for one person, whether they be completely fucked up or really amazing feelings, it was, I decided to put them into two different categories because I felt, you know, I constantly felt kind of a really schizophrenic kind of love for this person. You know, one time you'd be going through these hard emotions, the next time you'd be getting that real taste of freedom of going, things can be okay, you know, I'm still living and breathing and you can still walk on. And so side A is we've actually called Heartache, and side B we've called Redemption, and the songs are all very particular to those both emotions, and celebrating both of those really, really, really strongly, you know, yeah.
And it's what, as it appears to me, it seems to be that you've been searching for quite some time to find this material. Did the material find you, or did you find the material for this album?
Look, I always come from the belief that it finds you as far as you can sit down to write something, and it's never, you know, with any forethought. Yeah. I never sit down and go, I'm going to write about this emotion that I'm feeling. It suddenly starts pouring out, and then, you know, maybe half a page of writing down, you go, oh, well, that's what I'm talking about, you know, and it's only with an open heart that you can do that. I mean, when you're kind of strangled by feelings, I can't get a single word out, you know. Yeah. So I always find that it finds you, and it finds you when you're really ready for it to come and take you, you know.
Well, it sounds like you're ready.
Yeah, more than ready, man.
And you know, listening to the album, it's you know, it's well crafted, and it sounds great, and you know, there's a buzz around, and you couldn't get any more of a buzz by being rewarded for the national support for Monster Magnet, and playing the coveted final spot at the Meredith Music Festival, which is something that you know, doesn't come around very often.
No, we're thrilled, you know. I've only been to Meredith once, which was last year, and it was for 24 hours of power. But it's what a buzz. I can't believe we're playing that slot. It's unreal. Yeah. But we're built for it, you know. We're going to slay it.
And what's the direction for Matt Sonic and the High Times over the next 12 months, let's say? You know, once you've got Monster Magnet out of the road, I mean, you won't know what's going to come from that until you've done the tour, and obviously you won't know what's going to come from Meredith until you've done that. Where are your plans sitting right now with those out of the picture?
Well, it's funny, Benny, because 12 months ago we all sat down, and it was the first time we'd ever expressed any sort of, you know, dreams, any personal dreams of ours with the band, what we wanted to do. And there were two things we wanted to do, and one was to tour nationally with a band that we loved, and the other... Check, yeah. And the second was to play Meredith, which wasn't my choice, it was all the High Times, you know. They're all huge Meredith fans, and it felt like such a pie-in-the-sky dream, but we're like, that's what we want to do. So now that I feel like both of those came to us just through hard work and rocking out and just being who we are, I just feel like we can do anything. So we're all setting the bar very high now. We want everyone to hear what we've got to say.
If you want any more information, you can go to mattsonicandthehightimes.com, and we'll keep you guys updated over the summer with what you're doing. Looking forward to it, man. It's going to be fantastic. It's Matt, frontman for Matt Sonic and the High Times here for Rock City Networks. We'll talk to you soon.